You don't need a new routine. You don't need to get your life together. And you most definitely do not need to do another reset. In today's episode, we're going to talk about why you need to stop abandoning your routines and the things that have been working for you to reset or start something new. All online, what we see is mid-year reset or reset in the winter, reset for the summer, reset for the fall, whatever season it is or whatever quarter it is. We always see that we need to reset, refocus, realign. And there's nothing wrong with realigning or changing or switching your focus. But the thing I have with these reset routines is that we are perpetuating this standard of all or nothing, having to start over, having to start from the beginning. And at the end of the day, we never are starting from the beginning. We're always starting from a place from experience, a place where we've tried something, learned something, needed to pivot. And instead of just pivoting and moving forward and learning how to do things more intentionally and change our habits to make them a bit better as we're going along the process, what many people online, especially on YouTube, is people talk about resetting. So today I want to talk about why you do not need to get your life together, why you don't need to do a whole overhaul, why you don't need to constantly be doing resets, because I'm so tired of seeing this content. All right, so let's get into it today. I'm going to show you how to exactly get your life together once and for all, and show you why you just need to get better habits in place and how to simply get better habits in place so that you never feel like you need to completely do an overhaul or you need to reset ever again. This is going to be the episode that's going to change your entire trajectory of your life. Hi, welcome back to the Fire Inside podcast, the podcast for ambitious women who want to get all they desire done without burning out. I'm your host, Sade Kelly, time management coach, wife, mom, and hype woman for all the high achieving, ambitious women who want peace, freedom, and to live life on their terms and to fully live out their dream lives. This podcast is your weekly reminder to stop playing small and start living fully, whether it's in your career, your business, your wellness, your relationships, or any of your personal goals. That is what we cover, all the strategies and mindset shifts to help you succeed. And I'm really excited about today's episode because I think it goes completely against the grain. If you're someone like me who loves personal development content and you watch a lot of reset videos or restructuring videos or strategic videos, especially around the time of a new quarter or a new season or a new year, then you're going to really like this episode because it's going to really push your mindset. Now, I too enjoy those videos, but there's something I kept seeing in these videos that made me think, this is not actually helping people. It's kind of like a rah-rah motivational type video. And sometimes we want that. Sometimes we need someone to speak life into us, remind us of who we are and how we can always restart and re-begin and do anything new. And I love that. I love that you can start anything new. You can be successful at any age. You can go back to school. You can quit your job. You can start a new business. You can have another kid, whatever it is for you, right? But the thing I don't like about these videos is that they're not talking about how important your habits are in general. Like how if you really just change your habits, you'll change your life, because how you spend your time most of the time is made up of your habits, things you're habitually doing that you may be conscious or not conscious of, and how if you can become conscious of just switching your habits and simple ways to actually follow through on habits long term, you actually won't need to reset. And when things get set back or you fall back into old patterns, you'll know how to always get back on track. And that's actually something I teach with my clients. One thing I teach is my overwhelmed to organized framework, and clients are always saying to me before they invest, one of their biggest questions is like, well, is this going to work long term? I've tried different things. I've taken courses and I'm always weary of is this going to work? And my answer is always, if you have the tools, right? The tools that we learn in a lot of these reset videos, which in what I'm going to be showing you today on how to build habits, you'll always know how to get back on track so that you always know how to pivot. If you start going right and that's not the way you want to go, you'll always know how to go back left or go back straight or go wherever way you need to go. You get the gist. The idea behind this is that you don't need to start on Monday. You don't need more motivation. You don't need to get your life together. Your whole life is not in chaos, right? That's something I hear all the time. I need to get my life together. My life is in chaos. I feel like Q2 didn't go how I wanted and now it's Q3 and now I'm trying to figure it all out. No, you've always learned something. Whether you learn something through bad times or learn something through good times or neutral times, you've always learned something. So you're never really starting from the beginning, or you never really need to start all over or reset. Really, you need to actually think about what habits have I built up that I enjoy, that I want to grow, and what habits have I not really been nurturing? What habits do I quote unquote see as bad or things I want to switch and change? And that's what we're going to talk about, the life you want versus the life you're building through your habits. Because a lot of times what I see is those don't connect, especially for highly ambitious people. We believe in ourselves, but sometimes it's to an extent. It's like we know we want this amazing life, but at the same time, our habits haven't caught up to exactly the life that we're saying we want, or the beautiful vision board that we make, or the day in the life that we write. Like if you're anything like me and you wrote a day in the life and you read it every day and it's like, oh, these are my goals. This is what I'm going after. But it's like, are you actually doing the things that that person would do? It's like you want to be a millionaire. And you watch all these videos about millionaire habits and you get rah, hype, motivated. I'm going to reset. I'm going to do this. But then your day-to-day routines do not reflect it long term. If your day-to-day routines reflect it for 30 days or 60 days, but you're not doing this for years on end, how can you expect to see the results that you want? You have to change your habits. When you change your habits, you truly change your life. And 40% of our activities that we do day to day are unconscious. They are habitual. And the beautiful thing about that is that once you develop good habits, they stick with you. And that's something my clients always say, and I love to hear them say it. That's what I know it's clicked for them, because they're like, I used to have just wake up willy-nilly and check my phone first thing, and I didn't have any type of routine. But now that I've implemented this routine through the program, I keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and now I'm starting to see that these things are habitual, and I almost don't know what it feels like to not have a morning routine. I actually had a client say that the other day. I don't know what it feels like to not wake up and do my daily devotional. It's like it's so a part of me, and it's so much a part of how I go about my mindset, and it's just a part of my daily behaviors now. And that is the place I want you to get to with any and every habit that you want, because I do believe that you can get there. My running joke with my clients is always like, they come to me and they say they're not disciplined or they're not consistent. And I always say, you are disciplined and consistent at the thing you don't want. Now, how do we get you disciplined and consistent at the thing you do want? And that is what I'm going to break down for you today. So the issue isn't your ambition. It's really just your execution and the system in which you're going about it. So let's talk about how we can get your habits to a place where they are basically running your life for you and you feel in control at all times, because you know that your schedule, your health, your energy, your peace, they're not built in one moment. They're built by what you repeatedly do, especially when no one's watching. And that is one thing I love about when you are living a God-fearing life. You're not worried about what everybody else is doing. You're not worried about if someone's watching you or not. You know that God is always watching, and you know that you want to live in alignment with his path. So you are taking the steps that you need to be taking over and over again to show yourself and to live in alignment with your true God-given purpose, talents, life. Okay. If you're thinking about, all right, I need to get my life together, or I need to reset. If you're having any of these thoughts, the first thing I want you to do is think about, okay, what habits I have that are good and working for me, and what habits do I have that are not working for me, they're not serving me. Write them down. And ideas of these habits really is going to vary depending on the person. Like, what are the things that you like that you're doing with like every day, and what are the things you don't like that you're doing every day? Like, take a second and just do an inventory, because you know yourself best. When you actually take the time to reflect and write these things down and ask yourself the right questions, you can get these things out of you, and you can look for patterns that are going to help you to actually develop better habits and to not have to reset ever again, because you know how to call yourself out and move on and move forward the way you want to. All right, so let's get into how you move from how do I get my life together to what are the autopilot habits that are actually running my life, and how can I change them? So after you have already written out your list of the good habits that you have and the habits that you don't want to have anymore, I want you to think about these 4 different parts of developing any habit. So this is the framework for building any habit. When it comes to the habit loop, there's 4 key parts of this framework that you need to know. Now, there's different versions of the habit loop. If you've heard of it before, you may have heard of James Clear's habit loop from Atomic Habits, or you might have heard of Charles Duhigg's from The Power of Habit. I kind of combine both of them because I like researching and reading and coming with my own conclusion. But all in all, the framework's the same, right? So you start off with a trigger, which is essentially the cue that starts the habit, whether that's an emotional state, like you're hungry, you're tired, you're sleepy, or it is time of day, like in the morning I do this, at night I do this, or it could be location. When I enter this room or when I enter this place, I do these certain things, or it could be an alarm. It can be anything that triggers you. You just want to think, is this the thing that sets off me to basically do the habit that I'm trying to build or get away from the habit that I am currently doing? The next part of the framework is the craving. This is really important because this is your why behind the habit. When we don't have a why towards things, and I know if you've listened to this podcast before, you've heard me talk about why so much, but when we don't have a reason, we're not compelled, we're not committed, we're probably not going to take action on it. So the why, the craving, is that emotional motivator to get you to take action. And then the third part is the habit, also known as response or routine, depending on which habit loop you've learned from. I like to just call it the habit. It's when you actually do the behavior, right? It's the habit you're trying to build. And the last part of it seals the deal. That is the reward part of the framework. And that is the result that you get at the end. It's what wires your brain or rewires your brain and actually connects those neural pathways to remind you that you want to do this habit because it is actually doing something positive for you. And our brain loves positive recognition. And that is how you build any habit, literally any habit that you want to build. It just takes these 4 parts of the habit loop framework. So I'm going to go through an example for you because you may be like, how do I tangibly do this? So let's say that you want to start actually sitting down and being intentional with how you plan your day and actually showing up knowing how you're going to go about your day so you're spending your days better. I always like to say you should go to sleep with a plan so you wake up with a purpose. So let's say scheduling is the new habit you want to build. You've tried writing lists before, but they're just not consistent. I want you to figure out what your trigger is. Now, I think time of day is a perfect trigger for something like this, like if you're trying to build up this habit. So let's say on Sundays at 2 p.m. you set an alarm to plan your day. And it says like, plan your day now, go sit at your desk, whatever it is in the alarm. That's your trigger. Your craving is your why. Now, why is scheduling so important to you? It brings you peace of mind. It helps you have clarity on what you're doing this week, where you're going to be going, what you're going to be accomplishing, what your days are going to look like, so you don't feel scatterbrained or like you have all these things coming up. You know that if you do this, you're going to feel calm, cool, and collected. And then what is the habit? Sitting down to plan. So figure out where your space is going to be, where you're going to plan, figure out your method for planning, but this is the habit. You're going to actually sit down and do the habit. What's the reward? You feel good afterwards. You feel like you're in control of your day. You feel confident. You feel empowered. Maybe after you've scheduled, you go for a walk, you go to the gym, you call a friend, maybe you go grab a treat that you like. Maybe you watch a show that you like. Like the reward can be anything. It could be tangible or intangible. It could be literally just checking off that you did it. If you're a high achiever, you probably just really enjoy checking something off. But I love to set up rewards for every habit that I'm trying to build. Like even if it's as simple as like, I need to start making sure I clean more often. Like, I don't know if you're anything like me, but I moved into a bigger house and girl, it's 3 stories. Like it's a lot to clean and I'm definitely going to be hiring someone to come in every month. That's like definitely on the list for Q3. But the funny thing about it is like I've had to reward myself at the end of it. So like my trigger is, for instance, I have a cleaning schedule, that time block on my calendar. That's the trigger. I see it. And then immediately I'm like, okay, you know why you're doing this, because you want to clean space. It drives you nuts when things are cluttered. You love to clean on Sunday or Saturday just to make sure that you're set for the week. You like to reset. Like just go do it. That's the craving. Then I go ahead and just make sure I immediately go and start cleaning, right? Because the reward is going to be that I get to sit down and do whatever the heck I want for Sunday. And right now that it's summer, my reward is like, I am going to go to the pool. Okay. And I'm going to chill as much as I can because I'm going to the pool with my baby and he's a lot, but it is fun and it is a time to relax as a family. So I set up things like that for any habit that I want to build. Or if I see that I've built up a habit, but then like for instance, I had this amazing cleaning habit when I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, but then I moved to this home, which is a beautiful home. I'm so happy I'm here, but I realized I lost that habit. Like the habit started to dwindle because the space changed. So a lot of times different things in our life is changing and we have to adapt our habits, have to adapt our habit loops, have to adapt our behaviors. We don't actually need to reset or get our lives together or figure everything out or do an overhaul. We just need to switch and adapt. And that is the message I want for you to really take away from this podcast, is that you have to just increase the friction towards your bad habits so that you want to get away from them, and then decrease the friction towards the good ones so you want to do them. And that can work for any habit. If you want to stop eating junk food, increase the friction. Get the junk food out of your house. Put it really far away. Put the healthy food in front of you, like the apples or whatever. There's this really cool study that they did at a hospital. I believe it was in Boston, where they had these doctors where they set up the cafeteria in a certain way, and it influenced the behavior of the doctors. And now this is important because they're doctors, right? They should know that they need to eat healthy. So the way they set up the cafeteria was they put the waters in front one day, and they saw how many doctors grabbed waters, and they tended to grab the waters because it was near the food and it was in the front, while sodas were in the back. And then the next week they switched it. They put the sodas in the front and they put the waters in the back, and many of these doctors grabbed soda instead of water because it was convenient and it was right there. And that right there shows you that you can change your behaviors and change your habits just by convenience. As humans, we love to do things that are easy. We love free. We love things that are just simple. Like, we don't want to have to make even more decisions than we already make, because you make so many, like I think it's over 70,000 decisions in a day. Like, we want simple. So think of ways that you can make building any habit more simple. So if there's any routines that are falling off, any habits that you want to start doing, you want to read more, you want to make more money, you want to make more sales, you want to start this business, you want to do better at work, you want to be a better parent. Think about what you're doing now. How are you showing up, and what is making you keep doing those things, and what do you need to do to change, and how can you make it easy to change, make it simple to change? That is what's really going to change you. And another thing, forget the 21-day myth, because the 21-day myth is crap, right? A lot of what they don't tell you about that study is like 21 days is the minimum amount of time it takes to build a habit. But for most people, it takes 66 to 90 days to really solidify and make a habit second nature. And that's why my Overwhelmed to Organized coaching program is 90 days, because that is where we see the biggest change. But from some people, it can take up to 254 days for something to really be a habitual change. And I always say that the amount of time it takes to grow and birth a baby is the amount of times it takes you roughly to build up a new habit. So give yourself time, give yourself the space to start and end and start again and do things again and start over and pivot and whatever you need to do. Like, give yourself the space to just keep pushing through. And when you're doing it, don't aim for perfection. Don't aim for 100%. Aim for more often than not. So that is 55%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90% of the time, until you can build up to 100 if that's your goal. But don't stress yourself out about it, right? Just start identifying as the person who's becoming the person you want to be. Identify as whatever that is. Is it a fit person? Is it a good mother? Is it a millionaire business owner? Is an amazing employee? Like, what is it that you need to start identifying as, so that you can build up these lifestyle changes, these habitual changes, because your life is the sum of your habits. It's not you as a person. It's not that you're not enough. It's not that you're inadequate. It's not that you're not knowledgeable. It's literally that you haven't built up the habits of someone that is successful in the ways in which you want to be successful. Always look at people who are successful in what you want to be, and really think about, okay, what habits do they have that I do not have? What are they doing day to day that I am not doing? And you don't have to do every and anything that you see online. I think some of these habits that, especially like certain wealthy people that you see on YouTube, like some of their habits are a little bizarre, right? Some of the things are just, I wouldn't do. But I will say that, of course, success leaves clues. So look at the clues, look at the habits, and pinpoint them together for yourself. Missing one day is not going to ruin your habit. It's more so like when you start just giving up on yourself. That's what really ends a habit for you. And that's why people go to these videos for like, I need to get my life together, or I need to reset, because they fell off one day, or maybe for a week, or maybe for a month, and they don't know how to get back on with the knowledge that they now have, and they don't know how to give themselves grace. But you now know how to do that, because your new mantra is, I may miss something once, but I don't miss it twice, because when I've missed it twice, that's a decision, and I can decide differently. Ooh, that's a really good affirmation, y'all. That just came to my head. I love it. That is amazing. You have the ability to bounce back. So let's get into it. Let's make sure that you don't fall off course, that you now know how to build up any and every habit. If you guys have any questions about building up habits, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to answer that. I want you to know that you do not need to get your life together. You just need to build better, amazing habits, one designed to support the real you, the real version of you that you actually want to be. Your highest self, no matter how you define that, your most successful self has successful habits. So now that is what you're going to do. No more resets, no more overhauls, no more abandoning yourself along the way. Pick yourself back up. Have an amazing quarter, new month, new day, new hour, whatever it is, right? You don't need to have any big moment to make a change. So that is what I want you to do. After you watch this episode, I want you to really write down the good habits that you're doing so you can praise yourself, and then write down the habits that you want to improve and come up with your action plan based on the habit loop so that you can actually implement these habits, and come back and let me know how it worked for you, because it always works. It always works. This is a long-time framework that works for any and everyone, and I can't wait to hear about your progress. Thank you so much for tuning in today's episode, and make sure to share this with someone you know who needs it, who you know wants to have amazing, better habits, because this is probably one of the best videos you'll ever watch that simplifies how easy it is to build habits and makes it very simple and actionable. Okay, so share this. And if you are interested, I have my time management starter kit that I just launched. It is an amazing mini course with my 3-part framework to show you how to be peacefully productive. So I show you how to set meaningful goals and actually follow through on them. And I give you a framework and a template, and I actually show you a coaching demo on how to do that. I help you to design a weekly schedule that actually reflects your real life. And I show you how to create routines that support your focus, your energy, and your peace, just like I did today. But of course, it's more thorough, it's more thought out, it's more organized and grounded, and makes you feel in control of your time once you finish this mini course. You can go ahead and grab that link in the show notes and let me know how you like that as well. I came up with this starter kit because I thought about all the people who may not be ready for coaching services, but really need something to get them into gear and make sure that they're aligning their day-to-day habits, routines, and their life with what they actually want. So I know it's going to be a game changer. Go ahead and grab yours in the show notes. And as always, if you want to connect with me, book a time audit. That link will be in their description as well. And thank you again. If you like this episode, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.